guys, welcome back to the channel. In this tutorial I'm going to show you how to create a custom trading panel or GUI dashboard in MQL5 using the CAppDialog class. We will design a simple trading panel and adding feature I will guide you through each step. Now to create our panel we need the main class CAppDialog. Now I have here created the main template for expert advisor or indicator. So the first thing we're going to need is to include our class. So this is the CAppDialog class. We include it here. We're going to create an object from this thing. CAppDialog exist dialog. So we're creating an object from this thing. Alright, on init we're going to first create our panel. Exit dialog dot create chart ID. This is going to be on the main window. The name is my panel, for example. Sub window on the main window. This is x1 y1 x2 y2. This is I'm going to explain what is this is basically where we want to put our panel inside the chart. This is kind of in pixels. So let's start with x1 30, y1 30, for x2 300, y2 also 300. This is we created our panel on init. On the net we're going to destroy it because the program has exit destroy. Let's hit compile. Okay, everything is compiled, nothing wrong with that. Let's open our platform. As you can see, it's here already compiled. Let me call this again. It's on YouTube tutorials, trading panel. Alright, so this is our panel. It has been created, but as you can see we cannot interact with this panel. That's why we need another function for interaction. This function called onChart event. So this is onChart event. This is for make interaction with the panel. So we have here we have the exit dialog. This is the name of our object, and we have the chart event handle, our function that's going to take all the parameters from our chart onChart event. Let's hit compile again, nothing wrong. Let me go back to the platform. Alright, as you can see now our panel has been created and now we can interact with it. We can minimize, maximize, drag, and we can close as well. Now after we successfully created our panel, I want to talk about panel customization before we dive deep into adding features to our panel like buttons, checkboxes, and other stuff. Now to customize our panel we need to understand how the customization works. In the main class CAppDialog there is a set of defines library that the main dialog class taking all the infos as defined from the defines library. Let me show you how this works. So if we go back to our code here, this is the dialog class. This is the defines library or mini library that takes all this information as defines. So the dialog class is taking all this infos from here like control font size and all other coloring stuff. Now if we want to change something, let's say for example if we want to change control font size, it's set to 10 by default. It's not feasible to change it here inside this class because for example if we want to use this library for a different EA or a different indicator, it's not feasible to continuously changing these values. And also this is a kind of an original library we don't want to play around with. So how to do this trick? Let me show you. If we go back to our controls, our panel, I forgot here to add a run. This is important for running the dialog. Forgot to add it. So how we're going to do as I have told you, the defines library is called before the dialog. So here is what we are going to do to solve this problem. We're going to include it. We're going to include control defines, excuse me, control defines. Alright, so we include it here. For example, we talked about control font size. We're going to do this thing. I'm going to explain how this works. We're going to undef the desired define we want to really change. Undef control font size. Next, we want to add a variable, say integer font size equal to 20. Then we're going to define it again, so we're going to call it again. We're going to call this define control font size, but instead of writing a fixed value, now we can write our value here. Let's hit compile and see what's going on. Alright, if we go back to our platform, alright, as you can see, it's my panel is now, the font size is set to 20. So we achieve this without changing the defines library. So how this works is we included this at first before the dialog. We undef, that means we unlink this define, we set a different value, then we define it again with our desired value, and now we achieve this result. Now this thing is going to work for all this defines. If you want to change colors, for example, I'm going to show you right now how we can, but the idea is going to work exactly the same for the rest of the customization. This is drawing style and color, going to work the same. Let me show you. So we here added, so next maybe we want to change the client background. This is the client area. See the area we're going to use here, it's called the client area. So if we go back to our code, we need the same thing. It's called undef control dialog color client background. We undef it. Next, we're going to color. This is input client color. Let's say color red. This is, we set it. Now we're going to define it again. We're gonna call define control dialog background. We're going to set our value set color client color. Let's hit compile. Okay, client color undefined. Alright, client color client. This is called equal. Alright, we're going to set equal here. Alright, we compile it. There is no errors. Let's go back to our platform. Alright, as you can see now, the client color is now red. Let me just add one other thing just to show you what is this all about. Maybe we want to change this title bar or the background as the whole background here after the client area. We're going to apply the same idea. This one is called control dialog color background. So we're going to undef it, set color, let's say for example color title, let's say it's equal color black. We're going to define it again. We're going to define control dialog color background color title. Let's hit compile. There is no error. Let's go back to our platform. Alright, as you can see now, the background is all black with the title bar with also our name. Now what this is really important, for example, we can set this as inputs. For example, we want inputs. If we want to change them later, we don't need to compile it. Say input integer font size. Let's hit compile. If we go back to our platform, this is properties, as you can see. So now the font size is 20. Let's say we want to 5. Okay, let me close this again. YouTube tutorial, let's say to 10. Alright, as you can see, it's back to normal. But so this way how to change customization in Defines library, how we can really interact with this thing. You can play around with all this stuff using the same exact method that I showed you here. Now guys, let's dive deep into our panel by adding buttons. But before I do that, I want to create a class based on a parent class CAppDialog. This way it will look more professional and we can utilize the full potential of our panel. Let me show you how this works. So here it's basically the same here for the defines, undefines, include, control, dialog. I have created a class inherent. It's called CApp window, inherent from the parent class CAppDialog. Public CApp window, constructor, destructor, virtual bool create. Constructor and destructor here are defined. The body of the function, it's empty for now. There's boolean create, and inside this function is going to create the parent class CAppDialog create. If it has not created, it's going to return false. Here we are calling our class CApp window. As you can see, it's CApp window, the same thing. Exit dialog, and on init it's going to be the same. Create my panel, exit dialog.run, and the rest of the code going to be the same. Let's hit compile and see. So as you can see guys, it works basically the same, but we are now inside a class. So now we can get more professional and see how we can add buttons and interact with them. So to add buttons, first we need to include the button library. Let me include buttons library. So alright, so include controls button. I'm going to create here private C button member button 1. This is button 1. Create a private. I'm going to create a protected function. Let me call it boolean create button 1. Create button 1. Alright, so let's write the body for this function. We're going to go here. We're gonna call boolean CApp window double colon create button 1 void. So alright, so here we're going to create our button. So for our button, what we need first the coordinate integer x1. Let's say, for example, give it a number. This is also going to be the same for in pixels. X1 integer y1 y2 excuse me, y1. This is going to be x1 x2, sorry, x2, and integer y2. Let's go for 32. This is the coordinate for our buttons, x1 y1 x2 y2. Alright, so let's create it using this fixed. Alright, so if member function dot create, the same thing. So alright, this is main chart. this is the button name. This is the button name, not the text. This is the name of the object with its defined coordinate. So this is x1, y1, x2, y2. So we're going to create. Next, we need to have a text. So going to be the same thing. If _scroll button 1 dot text. So we have text, set and text get. This is text get and set. So we need to set a value. We're going to call it button. Let's have return false. Let's have not been created. Next, we need to add this button to our panel. So we're going to use this function. If I'll scroll add controls, we have the member button. If it's false, return false. And after this function is complete, so you're going to return true. Let's hit compile and see what we have. Alright, we don't have any errors. So after we created the body of the function, what we need to do next, we need to call this function inside the main create, which is this create, main create. So the same thing, we're going to call if create button 1. If this is did not called, we're going to return false. Alright, let's compile. Alright, we have compiled successfully. Let me check our... Alright, as you can see guys, we have created a button with x1, this is 11 pixel by 11 pixel from x1 y1, and y2 111 by 32. This is kind of the coordinate of the button. So as you can see guys, this is how we created a button. So obviously it's not going to do anything right now. And the same thing, maybe we could, let's just add another button. So let me show you how this works. Alright, so we're going to create another member. We're gonna call it button 2. Same thing here, boolean create button 2. It's the same thing, and we need to really write the body for this our button 2. We're going to copy all this here. So alright, the name also it's going to be button 2. The coordinates going to be different, of course. So maybe let's keep x1 y1 less. So let's go by, okay, this is x2, let's go by 130. y1 I want to be the same. Member create button 2, because this is button 2. Member create text dot button 2, add button 2. It's basically the same because we're adding another button, but we are different coordinate. So the name is going to be button, let's say 2. It's called button 2. Also here in the main create function, we're going to call our function, going to be create button 2. Let's hit compile. Hopefully there's no error. Create button 4 already defined. Alright, I have not changed the function. Alright, it's here button 1, button 2, create. There is 2 members now. Create button 2. Alright, so let's hit compile. There is no error. Let me see what's going to happen. Alright, so it's, as you can see guys, it's a little bit off. Let's fix that. So it's as you can see, we're going to fix error right away. So alright, so the problem is this is x2 is kind of shorter, so let's go with maybe this thing is 170 because 71. Alright, hit compile. Alright, as you can see, it's now been moved a little bit. Let's move it more. Alright, let's go 270, which is completely goes inside this, I guess. So we have maybe a number of 200 because we passed our function. So maybe let's just get this here in x1 maybe 110, x2 190. Let's see this. Alright, as you can see guys, it's just playing around with the coordinates to get it fit right. It's also you can basically calculate it, how you can do this, the spacing and all that stuff by only changing this coordinate stuff. So guys, now I want to talk about a little bit of button customization and how we can retrieve values from button clicking. So from event clicking, maybe after clicking button 1 or button 2, we want to retrieve something, we want to do something, this button to do something. I'm going to show you how I'm going to do this thing. So for the customization of the button, the same thing, we're going to call if member button 1 dot color background. We have color background, color border, color background. Let's say to color yellow. If it's false, we're gonna return false. Let's say it's compile. Okay, there is no error. Let me show you. Alright, so now as you can see, the button background for the button 1 color is now yellow. Now let's move to how we can handle event. So in order to handle event, we need another function call. I'm gonna call void on click button 1. So we're going to write a body for this function. I'm gonna come here, we're gonna call void CApp window on click button 1. Let it just print this function for now. Print function. So this is going to print this function. For now it's not going to do any stuff, just printing this function. Now how we can call this function after we clicking the button 1, for example. So in this dialog class there is a macro for event handling. It goes like this. We need an event map begin and event map end. So this is going to be handling the chart event for the buttons, for any stuff inside this begin and end. So inside here, inside these two begin and end, we're going to call on event like this. What is the method? It's called on click. What we are clicking? We are clicking button 1, member button 1. What is going to do? It's going to call this function. So it's going to, if we clicked button 1, it's going to call on click button 1. But in order this for the event map to work, we need a virtual function for on event. So we need this here. So let's hit compile. I hope this is going to be clear. Let's hit compile. It's now compiled. Let's go to the platform and see. When we click on button 1, as you can see here in our terminal toolbox, there is CApp window on click button 1 has been called. Obviously for the button 2 we have not said that. We can do exactly the same method, same thing. For example, void on click button 2 and on on click button 2, and obviously we need to write a body for this, and the same thing exactly going to be here. On click button 2, write the body for this function here. For example, on our main example on click button 1, let's say we want to retrieve something, account info string. Maybe we need account currency. Alright, so we're gonna take this here, account currency. Let's hit compile. Alright, there's no click on button 1, of course, because we have not created. Let's create this as well. Void on click button 2. I want this to show something else. Maybe account name, for example. Hit compile. Okay, everything is compiled. Let's go back to our platform. Alright, so when we click on button 1, it's called on button 1 account your USD currency. If we click on button 2, okay, nothing happens. Wait, there is something maybe wrong. Alright, I forgot here, it's called member button 2, so pay attention to this. Member button 1, member button 2. Let's hit compile again. Let's go back to platform. Button 1 your USD, button 2. Alright, on click button 2 MetaTrader for desktop demo. So guys, this is it for this part. On the next part, I'm going to really dive more into the checkboxes, combo box, and all other stuff. If you find this tutorial useful for you, please leave me a comment or a suggestion. What do you want to see next? What do you want to cover next? And thanks for watching.